Hey guys, Robbie here. Today we're going to be talking about two primary ideas related to weight loss and health. Idea number one is that what got you here won't get you there. And idea number two is that what you need to get where you want to be isn't necessarily what you need to do once you get there. So let's talk about each of these. So one of the things we see very often in here, whether it's in the gym when it comes to adding weights to lifts or getting faster run times, or in nutrition when it comes to losing more weight or getting to a more optimal body composition, is this idea that what got you here won't get you there. So what does that mean? That means that when you start on a journey, initially it's a lot easier in certain ways to make progress than later down the line. Now, this isn't always the case, but very often, as you might imagine, with weight loss, it is the case because if someone, let's say, is 100 pounds overweight, it's going to be a whole lot easier to lose that initial 50 pounds than it is that second 50 pounds because you just can't keep going at that same rate. Or similarly, when it comes to working out, we see this all the time with beginners where, each week they're adding 20 pounds to their squat and they're adding, 30 pounds to their deadlift and making all these leaps and bounds, which is fantastic and it's great, but it doesn't last forever. When you get to the upper echelons of being a athlete, it takes longer and longer to even add 5 pounds to your lifts. And even then, that's a huge accomplishment. Similarly with weight loss and body composition, if you have already lost 50 pounds, losing that last little bit that you want to lose is something harder to get to. So this is a very important concept to keep in mind because people tend to think that weight loss is just this infinite thing that you can keep going at the same rate. And the truth of the matter is, in order to get you from level one, which is where you initially started at, where let's say you lost that initial 30 pounds, to level two, where you lose that additional 30 pounds, usually something else has to be done. So if you lost that initial 30 pounds by just changing the quality of your food and the micronutrients and eating real whole food, that's a great start. That's the foundation piece. But maybe to get you that second 30 pounds, you have to start exercising more or start counting your macros or calories. There has to be this extra addition of effort or some sort of extra thing to basically get you where you need to be. So every time you kind of reach that plateau point, there's something extra has to be added to get you past it. So that's important point number one, that what got you here won't get you there. And while it's fantastic and amazing, you've added 50 pounds to your squat or lost 30 pounds, that initial feeling and that initial progress is fantastic. But to get you to that next level, you probably have to do something else in addition to what you're already doing to get there. Idea number two is that what you need to do to get somewhere isn't necessarily what you need to do once you get there. So this is a similar idea here, but with more beneficial kind of outcomes. So what do I mean by this? I mean, let's say someone has 50 pounds to lose. Well, in order to get there, they're going to need to do certain things in terms of food quality and macronutrients and calories and exercise and all the rest of these things. But once they get there and once they have reached their optimal health or body composition goal, things can lighten up a bit. They don't necessarily need to be as strict as they once were. So whereas before we were saying, oh, to get you to that next level, if you need to keep going, you've got to do more. Now we're saying once you actually get to where you want to go, you can loosen the reins a little bit. So an analogy I really like here comes from Dave Ramsey, famous financial advisor. And one of the things he talks about is this idea that when you're trying to get out of debt, you should put your cash in envelopes. The amount that you need for movies in an envelope, the amount that you need for food or for rent or for what have you. And then when that cash is gone, that's it for the month. So that's kind of an extreme measure where you're not using credit cards or checks or anything like that. It's a very extreme measure to get someone out of debt. But it might be necessary. But once you get out of debt, you don't necessarily need to have your cash in envelopes for the rest of your life. Well, it's the same idea with health and nutrition. Initially, it may take a significant amount of effort to lose the weight you want to lose, or if you have some sort of chronic health condition, it may take some, serious extra effort in the form of de-stressing or going to sleep earlier or doing functional health tests to get you to that optimal health point. But once you get to that point, you can loosen the reins a little bit. You can start to live your life a little bit more. So whenever I start nutrition coaching with people, I always need to make that distinction between what they need to do to get where they need to be, which is going to involve some more effort than they were previously putting in, versus what they need to do once they get there, which can be, a little bit more even, and it can be a little bit more relaxed so that they can actually enjoy things a bit more. So if you keep these two things in mind, that namely that what got you here won't get you there, and what you need to do to get somewhere doesn't necessarily need to be the same thing that you need to do once you get there, that will play a big role in helping you get to your optimal health and body composition goals. All right, guys, thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you next time.